Hi learners, welcome back again with a new video of the paper solution of WB set 2020. This is the question booklet series X. In this video, we are solving from question number 31 and onwards. This video contains the questions from LPP, classical mechanics, ordinary differential equation, partial differential equation, and so on. And that is the video. This video basically contains the question from applied mathematics. And in the previous three videos of WB set 2020, I already solved up to question number 30. You can check it out. I'll share the link in the description, also in the iTab. And the WB set 2018 first 20 questions, solution of first 20 questions are also available in the channel. I will share also the link in the description. So let's start. And before starting the solution, I am requesting you to all those who are new in my channel, please like the video, comment if you have any doubt in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon to get notification for the new videos. So let's start with question number 31. Question number 31 says that this is a question from LPP. The question says that consider the maximization problem max z equal to 2x1 plus x1 x2 plus 3x2 subject to x1 square plus x2 equal to 3. From the constant, this is sure that the question is from nonlinear programming. Then the global maximum of z equal to. Now to solve the nonlinear programming, we use the Lagrangian method. So we first form the Lagrangian. So Lagrangian L with the function of x and lambda equal to 2x1 plus x1 x2 plus 3x2 plus lambda into x1 square plus x2 square minus 3. Now the necessary conditions for the nonlinear programming are del L del x1 equal to 0, del L del x2 equal to 0, and del L del lambda equals to 0. Now del L del x1 equal to 0 gives 2x1 2 plus x2 plus 2 lambda x1 from this L. This is equal to 0 implies x2 equal to 2 into lambda x1 minus 1, and del L del x2 equal to 0. This gives x1 equal to 2 lambda x2 minus 3. Now del L del lambda equal to x1 square plus x2 square minus 3. This implies x1 square plus x2 square equal to 3. Now we take for these two, and it is important here that the solution exists for the lambda greater equal to 0. So we take first lambda equal to 0. So lambda equal to 0, if we put x1 and x2 in x1 and x2, then we get x2 equal to minus 2 and x1 equal to minus 3 from these two equations. Now we put the value of x1 and x2 to this equation to show that whether the value of x1 and x2 satisfies these constants also. Then we can say that this value of x1 and x2 are satisfied by this equation. So if we put the value of x1 and x2, we get x1 square plus x2 square equal to 9 plus 4 equal to 13, which is not equal to 3. Therefore the value for lambda equal to 0, the value of x1 and x2 does not satisfy this constant or this equation. So the lambda equal to 0 is not possible. Now for lambda not equal to 0, that is for lambda greater than 0, we get x1 square plus x2 square from these two equations. Also we have 2 lambda x2 minus 3 whole square plus 4 into lambda x1 minus 1 whole square. But if we simplify this, then we can't get the solution for x1 and x2. Therefore for this problem, the solution for lambda greater equal to 0 does not exist. Therefore there is no solution, that is the solution global maximum of z is does not exist for this constant. Now go to the question number 2. Question number 2, again question number 32 is again from LPP. The question says that let alpha and beta be two positive real numbers if the number of optimal solutions of the LPP maximum of z equal to alpha x plus beta y subject to the constant 3x plus 4y greater equal to 7, x plus y less equal to 2, and the xy satisfies the non-negativity condition. Then the solution of the LPP is infinite. Then which of the following is possible? Now here is a concept says that if z line, that is the optimization function, the objective function, is parallel to any side of the feasible region, all points lying on the side constitute optimal solutions. That means if the line of the maximization, that is the objective function, is parallel to any other constraint, then it must give the infinite solution. Now we choose the option, choose the value of alpha and beta from the options. If we take alpha equal to 3, beta equal to 4, that is z equal to 3x plus 4 sorry 3x plus 4y, then it is parallel to the constant, first constant. So this also give the infinite solution. If we take the second, if we choose the second option, that is alpha equal to 4 and beta equal to 3, that means z equal to 4x plus 3y. This is not parallel to any of the given two constant, so this is not possible, B option, but A option is possible. Now in option C, if we choose alpha equal to 3 and beta equal to 3, then z equal to 3x plus 3y, and which is parallel to the second constant x plus y less equal to 20. Therefore this is also possible. And in the last option, that is option number D, if we choose alpha equal to 3 by 2 and beta equal to 2, then we must have z equal to 3 by 2 x plus 2 into y. So if we take common half, then we get also 3x plus 4y. This is also parallel to the first constant. Therefore from my opinion, here in the question, the options A, C and D, these three are correct, but in the answer sheet there is only option given, that is option number C. But I think these three options are possible for this problem according to my opinion. So go to the next question. Question number 33. This is a simple questions of transposition problem from LBB. The question says that zero opportunity cost in the optimal transportation table for a non-basic variable indicates. This is clear definition of alternative solution for transportation problem. Clearly option D is correct. So the statement is such that in an optimal transportation table, that is when delta is greater or equal to 0, if there exists a non-basic cell with zero cell evaluation, then the transportation problem will have alternative solution. This is simple definition of alternative solution or alternative optimal solution for the transportation problem. And now go to the question number 34. Question number 34 is also from LPP. In a primal problem, the fourth constant is an equation and the third variable in unrestricted in sign in the primal problem. Then the nature of the fourth dual variable and the third dual constant will respectively. Now the concept for this question is given by for primal problem and dual problem. If we take the generally primal problem is the maximized problem and dual problem then will be the minimization problem. Then ith constant is less equal to type implies in the dual ith variable is greater equal to 0, greater equal to type, you can say, or ith constant is equal to type in primal problem, then ith variable is unrestricted in sign. If jth variable is greater equal to type or greater equal to 0, then jth constant is greater equal to type. If jth variable is unrestricted in sign in the primal problem, then in dual problem jth constant is of equal to type. Now here given that the fourth constant is an equation, therefore from this table the fourth variable must be unrestricted in sign, and the third variable is unrestricted in sign. Sign implies the third constant is an equation. Therefore clearly here option A is correct. Now question number 35 to 40. This is the question. These are the questions of topology, and solving topological problem is very conceptual and informative, so it takes much time to solve this type of problem. So according to me, I skip these questions from 35 to 40, but if you show your response on this topic, then I must analyze this also later. Now we go to the question number 41. This is a question from continuum mechanics, that is from solid mechanics. The question says that the equation of Cauchy stress quadratic at P xy x1 x2 x3 for the state stress tau ij equal to this is a matrix form. Now here is the fourth option given, that is we have to find the Cauchy stress quadratic. And before going to the solution of this video, I am requesting you to all please like the video, comment if you have any doubt in the comment section below, and share with your friends. So now start the solution of this video of this question. The question, to solve this question we need to know the stress quadratic of Cauchy. It is the quadratic surface tau ij xi xj equal to plus minus k square is called the state quadratic of Cauchy, and where the matrix tau ij equal to, this is the form of this matrix tau ij, that is tau 1 1, tau 1 2, tau 1 3, tau 2 1, tau 2 2, tau 2 3, tau 3 1, tau 3 2, tau 3 3. And here in the question, we have only the principal diagonal element and remaining element are 0. That means we have tau 1 1, tau 2 2 and tau 3 3. That means the Cauchy state quadratic is clearly tau 1 1 x1 square, tau 2 2 x2 square, tau 3 3 x3 square, and remaining terms are 0. So this implies clearly x1 square plus 2x2 square plus 3x3 square equal to constant. And that means in which option is it given? That is in option D. So question number 41 is option D is the correct answer, and remaining options are wrong. Now go to the question number 42. Question number 42 says that it is from fluid mechanics, fluid dynamics or fluid mechanics. The question says that a fluid element has velocity v equal to, velocity vector is given, the motion at xy at 1 by root 2 and 1 is rotational and incompressible, rotational, compressible, and fourth option is given here. Now we need to know what is rotational, what is irrotational, and what is compressible and what is incompressible. Now for irrotational vector, we have curl v equal to 0 vector. Now we have to check whether the curl of v equal to 0. So for this curl v, we find curl v. So v equal to given here, k component is 0. So we take the kth component as 0 and find the curl of the vector v, and we get here curl of v equal to 6xy into k. This is simple calculation, and at the point 1 by root 2 1, curl v equal to 6 into 1 by root 2 into 1, that means 6 by root 2, which is not equal to 0. That means the vector is not irrotational. That means the vector is rotational. That means here the C and D option are incorrect. The correct option may be option A and option B. Now comparing v equal to check the incompressibility or compressibility, we get v equal to this, the three components of the velocity vector. If we compare with this, then we get a equal to this, b equal to this, and c equal to 0. Now we check the gradient of v. Gradient of v equal to del a del x del b del y and del c del z. This gives minus y square plus 2x square, and at the point 1 by root 2 and 1, this is equal to 0. If we get this is equal to 0, then the fluid motion of the fluid must be incompressible. Therefore the motion of the fluid element is rotational and incompressible. Therefore option A is correct here and option B also incorrect here. Now go to question number 43. 43. The Hamiltonian of the dynamical system given by H equal to P1 Q1 plus minus P2 Q2 minus A Q1 square plus B Q2 square, where A, B are constant. This is the question from classical mechanics, simple classical mechanics, Hamiltonian dynamical system. And now to solve this question, we need to know the Hamiltonian equation of motion. So the Hamiltonian equation of motion are Qi dot equal to minus del H del Pi and Pi dot equal to minus del H del Qi. Here the Qi are the generalized coordinate and Pi are the momentum. Now we have Q1 dot equal to del H del P1, Q2 dot equal to del H del P2. From this I equal to 1 and 2 here. P1 dot equal to minus del H del Q1 and P2 dot equal to minus del H del Q2. P2 dot equal to. So from the first equation we have Q1 dot equal to del H del P1 and del H del P1. From here we get del H del P1 equal to simple Q1. Therefore this gives Q1 dot equal to Q1. That means this is an one variable, simply one variable. So we can convert it to the ordinary differential equation. So dq1 by q1 equal to dt, and if we solve it, then we get q1 equal to c1 a to the power t. Simply. Similarly, q2 dot equal to minus q2, since q2 equal to del h del p2 and from this H we get del H del P2, and so put it here, del dq2 dt equal to minus q2, and solving it, this is simple differential equation. If we solve this, then we get q2 equal to c2 e to the power minus t. Now p1 dot equal to minus del h del q1. Now minus del h del q1 equal to from this h we get del h del q1, and del h del q1 equal to p1 minus 2a q1 from the given h. Therefore this gives dp1 dt equal to minus p1 plus 2a c1 into t e to the power t. Since q1, value of q1 equal to c1 e to the power 2, the value of q1 put it here, and this gives dp1 dt plus p1 equal to 2a c1 e to the power t. This is simple differential equation we solve by using the integrating factor of this differential equation. So if we find the integrating factor, then it is e to the power t, and so if we integrate this, so d of p1 e to the power t equal to 2a c1 e to the power 2t plus c3. C is the integrating constant, and we get p1 e to the power t equal to a c1 2a c1 into the power 2t by 2 plus c3, and p1 equal to a c1 e to the power t plus c3 e to the power minus t. Now then we find the p2, value of p2. Since in the question we have to find the value of p2, q2 and q1. Now we find the value of p2. So p2 dot equal to minus del h del q dot del q2 dot, and del h del q dot, this is equal to 2b q2 minus p2 from this given h we have. So this is equal to dp2 p2 dot means dp2 dt minus this p2, and this is equal to 2b c2 e to the power minus t. Since the value of q2 is equal to c2 e to the power minus t, put the value of q2 in to here. So this is also a simple differential equation. If we solve this by the same method as we are apply the above in the above, so we get the value of p2 equal to b c2 e to the power minus t plus c4 e to the power t. This is simple calculation. Now the value of p2 minus b q2 by q1 equal to b c2 e to the power minus t plus c4 e to the power t minus b q2 means b into q2 means c2 e to the power minus t by q1 equal to c1 e to the power t. So this is equal to b c2 e to the power minus 2 to b c2 e to the power minus t cancel, and if we get simply c4 e to the power t by c1 e to the power t. So this is equal to e to the power t cancel. So this is equal to c4 by c1, and this is equal to a constant. Therefore the solution of this question is a constant, option number C. This is the correct answer of this problem. Now we go to the question number 44. This is also a simple question from classical mechanics. This question is based on simple statements. The question says the state which of the following statements is not correct. We have to find the not correct statement. So first statement is given point transformation are also canonical transformation. So this is obviously correct statement. Then contact transformation are also canonical transformation. Yes, this is also correct statement. And then the next option is gauge transformation are also canonical transformation. Yes, this is also correct option. And the fourth option, under canonical transformation Hamiltonian equations need not be invariant, but it is invariant. This is the not correct statement. Therefore the option is here, D is the correct answer. See, it is the not correct statement. 44. Now we'll go to the next question, question number 45. Question number 45 says that the Lagrangian L of the dynamical system L equal to q1 dot square plus q2 dot square plus k1 q1 square, where p1 and p2 are the generalized momentum corresponding to generalized coordinates q1 and q2, and k1 is the constant. Then the Hamiltonian H is given by. Now to find the Hamiltonian of given the Lagrangian, we use here H equal to summation pi qi dot minus L, where the value of L is given by q1 dot square plus q2 dot square plus k1 q1 square. And here given that two generalized coordinates, so sum from I equal to 1 to 2, and also here pi is the generalized momentum. Therefore pi equal to here del L del qi dot. This is the generalized momentum. So put the value of p. So we get q1 dot del L del q1 dot, q2 dot del L del q dot, del q2 dot minus L. Now here del L del qi dot we find from the given L. Del L del q1 dot equal to 2 q1 dot and del L del q2 dot equal to 2 q2 dot. Therefore h equal to, we put the value of del L del q1 dot and del L del q2 dot and L here. So we get 2 q1 dot square plus 2 q2 dot square minus this is the value of L simply. So we get q1 dot square plus q2 dot square minus q1 square, and we know that here p1 equal to del L del q1 dot and del L del q1 dot equal to 2 q1 dot from the given L. So therefore this implies we have to find the value of a q1 dot and q2 dot in terms of generalized momentum. So q1 dot equal to p1 by 2. So this implies q1 dot square equal to p1 square by 4, and similarly we get the value of q2 dot equal to p2 square by 4. Therefore the value of Hamiltonian equal to this, we put the value of q1 dot q2 dot and del L del q dot and all the values in the given equation, in the above equation here in the equation. So we get the value of h equal to 1 by 4 into q1 dot square plus q2 dot square. This means p1 square by 4 plus p2 square by 4 minus q1 square. This is the correct answer for this problem. So here the option I think D. Option D is correct here. Now going to question number 46. The question number 46, the solution of the initial value problem. This is from a partial differential equation, and this is clearly a wave equation. Now the generalized solution for a non-homogeneous wave equation utt minus c square uxx equal to fxt. This is the non-homogeneous wave equation. General solution of non-homogeneous wave equation is equal to whether ux0 equal to fx and utx0 equal to gx. Then the solution is uxt equal to half of half into f of x plus ct plus f of x minus ct plus 1 by 2c into integration x minus ct to x plus ct gs ds, and 1 by 2c integration 0 to 2 and integration double integration x minus t x minus c into t minus theta to x plus c into t minus theta f of s theta d theta this. Now here it is the homogeneous equation, therefore these terms for this equation will be not valid. This is tends to 0, and also it is given that the function ut x0 equal to 0, therefore these terms also here goes to 0. Only the terms here we need to solve this problem is the first term, this half into this. So this is equal to, and the value of c is equal to here c square means 4, so c equal to here 2. So simply put the value in the formula uxt equal to f half into f of x plus 2t plus f of x minus 2t, and since the fx equal to given x, so f of x plus 2t equal to x plus 2t and f of x minus 2t equal to x minus 2t. So this is equal to 2t cancel, and this is equal to half into 2x, and this is equal to x. So here option A is the correct answer for this problem number 46. Now go to the question number 47, and before going to the solution of this question 47, I am requesting you to all please like the video, comment if you have any doubt in the comment section below, and share with your friends. So now start the solution of question number 47, and this is a clearly quasi problem, and now we solve this problem by using Lagrange equation. So if we compare this equation ux plus x uy equal to 0 with the equation pp plus qq equal to r, then we must have p equal to ux, q stands for uy partial derivatives, and p q r are the continuous functions of xy. So solution of the Lagrange's, general solution of the Lagrange's equation is of the form we take this dx by p plus dy by q plus du by r. Here we get p equal to 1, q equal to x, and r equal to 0 for the problem this ux plus x uy equal to 0. So dx by 1, dy by x, and du by 0, and du by 0, this implies u equal to constant, we take the constant as c. And from the first these two ratios we get dx by 1 equal to dy by y, that means dy equal to x dx, dy equal to x dx, and if we integrate this, then we have y minus x square by 2 equal to constant, we take this constant as c2, and for this general solution for the Lagrange equation is of the form c equal to f c2, and also we can take C2 equal to FC for the answer just. So u equal to f of y minus x square by 2. So now u equal to u of 0 y equal to sin y given in the problem. This u of 0 y equal to sin of y. So using this condition we have u of 0 equal to sin y. This implies sin y equal to f of xy. Now this is the solution of this problem. So u equal to f of this. So this means f of y equal to sin y. So u equal to sin of y minus x square by 2. This is the correct answer of this problem. That means option A is correct here. 47. Option A. Now question number 48. The nature of the differential equation. This is from the transformation. I'm sorry. This is the question from the classification of PD. Classification of PD. So to solve this concept, to solve this question, the concept used here RR plus SS plus TT, where R is the second order partial derivative with respect to X, T is the second order partial derivative with respect to Y, and S is the second order partial differential derivative with respect to X and Y, and f of x plus xy u pq equal to 0, where R S T are the continuous functions of x, y, u. Then the equations are parabolic if s square minus 4rt equal to 0, hyperbolic if s square minus 4rt greater than 0, and elliptic if s square minus 4rt less than 0. Now comparing this equation with the given equation, we get the value of r equal to 1, s equal to 2y, and t equal to 4x. Therefore s square minus 4rt, this gives 4y square minus 16x. So 4 into y square minus 4x. Now from the option it is given that option A, parabolic on the hyperbola y square equal to 4x. So if we put y square equal to 4x, we get y square equal to 4x, then we get 0. Therefore this is the parabola and this is the correct option. So option A is correct. And since in option B incorrect, but why incorrect? So if we check it, then elliptic outside the parabola y square equal to 4x, but from this we have this is outside the parabola y square equal to 4x, this gives hyperbola, greater than 0 means hyperbola, and inside the parabola this gives ellipse. So these two are incorrect option. So option B, C and D are incorrect and option A is the correct option. Now go to the question number 49. Question number 49 says that the partial differential equation of the set of all right circular cones whose axes are coincide with z axis is. Now for this question, the general equation of the set of all right circular cones whose axis coincide with z axis having semi-vertical angle alpha are and vertex 0 0 c is given by x square plus y square equal to z minus c whole square tan square alpha. Now differential this equation partial with respect to x, we get 2x equal to 2 into z minus c tan square alpha del z del x. This implies del z del x equal to 2x into z minus c tan square alpha, 2 cancel, and differential partial with respect to y, we get 2y equal to 2 into z minus c tan square alpha del z del y. So del z del y equal to 2y into z minus c tan square alpha, this 2 cancel, and now if we multiply this del z del x by y, then we get del z y del z del x equal to xy by z minus c into tan square alpha, and this is also equal to del z del y if we multiply del z del y by x. So this implies y del z del x equal to x del z del y. This is the correct option. That means yp equal to x cube. Now we check the options of question number 49. So here it is B option is the correct option. Now go to question number 50. This is a statement based question. Basically the question says that if m and n are two smooth functions from R2 to R, and then the form m dx plus n dy is exact if and only if which of the following is true. There is a smooth function of f such that m dx plus n dy equal to alpha. Yes, this is correct option. Del m del y equal to del n del x. Yes, this is also correct option. Since for exact we check del m del y whether del m del y equal to del n del x. So this is also correct option. And the question number option number 3, del l the curl of mi plus nj equal to 0. This is also correct option. Therefore these three statements are all correct option. So option D is correct here clearly. Now go to question number 51. Question number 51 says that the solution up to third order approximation of the equation dy dx equal to y plus x such that y1 equal to x0 when x equal to 0. That means y at 0 equal to 1 by the Picard's process of successive approximation. Now the Picard process of Picard scheme is given by yn plus 1 equal to y0 plus integration x0 to x f of x into yn of dx. Now here fxy dy dx equal to fxy means fxy equal to x plus y. Now y1 equal to, we get y1 equal to y0, and y0 means here 1, since y at 0 equal to 1. This is y0 and this is x0. So this is equal to x0 means 0, 0 to f of x y0 into dx. So and since fxy equal to x plus y, therefore f of x y0 means 1, that means f of x1 equal to x plus 1. So put the value of f x1 is equal to x plus 1 here and simply integrate, we get y1 equal to 1 plus x square by 2. Now going to the second approximation, y2 equal to y0 plus integration 0 to x f of x into y1 dx. Now put the value of y1 here, f of x into x and 1 plus x square, and since fxy equal to x plus y, so this gives this plus this is the total function. So 1 plus integration 0 to x into x plus 1 plus x square by 2 into dx, and integrate we have 1 plus x plus this 2x and integrate we have 2x square by 2, that means x square plus x cube by 6. This is the second approximation. And y3, that is third approximation, is y1 plus integration 0 to x f of x into y2 dx. So 1 plus integration 0 to x f of y2 means 1 plus x square plus x cube by 6 into dx, and this is equal to integration 0 to x plus 1 x plus 1 plus x square plus x cube by 6 into dx. So simply integrate, we have 1 plus x square plus x cube by 3 plus x to the power 4 by 24. That means the option here, which option? I think here in option B. Option B is the correct option. Question number 51. Now go to the question number 52, and this is the last question for this video. So question number 52 says that consider the boundary value problem uxx plus uyy equal to 0. X belongs to 0 pi, y belongs to 0 pi, and ux0 equal to ux pi equal to u0y equal to 0. Then any solution of this boundary value problem is. Now the solution equation is uxx plus uyy equal to 0. Let the solution be of the form, if we apply here separation of variable method. So uxy equal to fx into gy. So ux0 equal to 0 given, which implies ux0 means fx into g0. So 0 equal to fx into g0. This implies g0 equal to 0 since fx is non-zero. And ux pi equal to 0. Similarly, fx into g pi equal to 0. This implies g of pi equal to 0. And u0y equal to 0. This implies f0 into gy equal to 0. And this implies f0 equal to 0. So these are the conditions for this problem which we are used in this problem. So putting the value in the equation 1, u equal to fx into gy, we have this. If we put that is simple, calculate the second order partial derivative and put in the equation 1, we get f double dash x plus into gy plus fx g double dash y equal to 0. And if we, then this implies minus f double dash x by fx equal to g double dash y by gy equal to mu c. So these two equations imply f double dash x plus, if we take this first, this equation with the mu, and then this equation with mu, then we get these two equations, f double dash x plus mu fx equal to 0 and g double dash y minus mu gy equal to 0. Now case 1, if we take mu equal to 0, then this is clearly gives the trivial solution, and we are not interested in the trivial solution. We are interested only the non-trivial solution. If mu is less than 0, then we take mu equal to minus lambda square f double dash x minus lambda square fx equal to 0 and g double dash y plus lambda square gy equal to 0. So this implies fx equal to simple solution c1 e to the power lambda x plus c2 e to the power minus lambda x, and from this we get gy equal to c3 cos lambda y plus c4 sin lambda y. Now f0 equal to 0 implies c1 plus c2 equal to 0. So this implies c1 equal to minus c2. Therefore fx equal to, this is the solution, c1 into e to the power lambda x minus e to the power minus lambda x. And now apply g0 equal to 0. This gives c2 equal to 0. That means, and again applying g pi equal to 0, we get c4 sin lambda pi equal to 0. But if we take here c4 equal to 0, then g pi equal to 0 gives again trivial solution, and we are not interested in the trivial solution. We are interested only non-trivial solution. Therefore, we must have sin lambda pi equal to 0, and this gives sin n pi, and this is equal to lambda equal to n. Therefore, gy equal to sin n pi. Therefore, the solution even xy equal to c1 into, this is the value of fx. So fx, that means e to the power lambda x, that means lambda equal to n. So e to the power nx minus e to the power minus nx into sin n pi n x. This is ny, sorry, ny. This is the value of gy, since the even x equal to fx into gy. So this is equal to cn into, this is the value of sine hyperbolic function of nx and into sin y, sin ny. Since if we divided by 2 and this c1 constant, we here we balance with this constant cn. So u xy equal to summation n equal to 1 to infinity cn into sin hyperbolic nx into sin ny. This, so this is the correct answer. And if we take mu greater than 0, then lambda equal to mu equal to lambda square, then we also get the trivial solution. In this way we can check also this. So this is also give the trivial solution. You can check this. So we have the answer. Our final answer is this, sin hyperbolic nx into sin hyperbolic ny. So which option? I think here it is option A, cn into this. So this is the correct answer for this problem. So in this video, this is the last question. How was the video? If the video is helpful for you, then please give a like to this video, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon to get notification for the new videos. Thank you friends. Thank you again. See you again in the next video.